What's up, guys? Nito here, and welcome back. So today I just want to do a quick video discussing some of the infusion generation methods I'm using on this character, and also talking about Firestorm a little bit. So Firestorm is pretty terrible. Uh, just as a baseline, it looks like this, and yeah, it's not very good on its own, right? Um, it doesn't overlap very much. It's kind of random. It's got, this is with some increased area of effect, so it's got a little bit of extra AoE. But on its own, like, Firestorm needs a lot of help. But one of the things you can do is you can generate infusions, and it's the only spell in the game that consumes all three types of infusions to do a lot more. So the way that I'm generating infusions for this build is with Orb of Storms with a very short duration. So the way Orb of Storms works is it generates a lightning infusion when it expires, or when you basically, like, if you cast 6 times within the area of Orb of Storms, it will then consume the storm and generate the lightning infusion. So by default, it has a 12-second duration, and I am bringing that all the way down to, where is it? 1.38 seconds is my current duration. So it expires very quickly, and then when it expires, it leaves an infusion on the ground, and then we use those infusions for Firestorm. So the way that we're getting the duration down super low is by using Compressed Duration 2 for 35% less duration, Overabundance 1 for 50% less duration, and then also +1 limit on there. And then on our tree, we have our Orb of Storms on our second weapon set. So we come over here for reduced skill effect duration on the tree. And then also all the way up here for reduced skill effect duration. And then on our main hand weapon set, we have the increased skill effect duration for our Firestorm, because we want it to last longer. So yeah, you can basically just keep spamming, and you will generate random infusions because I am using the Elemental Equilibrium Keystone, so that's going to give you a random one every time instead of only lightning. We also take chance when collecting elemental infusions to gain an additional infusion of the same type, and then we have +1 to max number of infusions, so that gives you up to 4 of each type. It's 3 by default. And then on our main hand, we take chance for skills to not remove elemental infusions, so we don't always consume it. And then from our ascendancy, we also have 50% chance to gain a random different elemental infusion when collecting an infusion. So, and I also don't have my last ascendancy points yet, but we could also take this one if we wanted to, which makes infusions reappear after you collect them. So yeah, what does Firestorm look like when you have actual infusions? Let me just get some fire infusions. Okay, so it looks like this, which is much better already. It has way more bolts falling, and it also now does lightning and cold bolts as well. And one of the other things I'm doing is I am actually increasing the limit of Firestorm using this amulet, which has +1 limit, and then also, because I'm a Stormweaver, I get +1 to limit of elemental skills. So that also lets us have additional Orb of Storms, because Orb of Storms is also a limit 1 skill, and then we also take Orb of Skills have +1 limit, so that's another extra limit for the orbs. Just because you don't want to be replacing your orbs, you want it to actually expire. If you replace the orb by just, like, casting it too frequently, it's not going to give you any infusion. So yeah, once we have our infusions, because we have a limit 3, we can use this new lineage support called Zarok's Refrain, which basically causes your skill to echo 2 times. So it just repeats the skill 2 times, but it gives it a 5-second cooldown, which for Firestorm is fine, because, it lasts longer than 5 seconds, right? So it'll just be raining down like this, all 3 storms, because we have a limit of 3, so all 3 in the same area, and it actually makes Firestorm somewhat playable. and it does consume infusions for each cast, for each repeat. So you do need to be generating a lot of infusions. So kind of while we're mapping, we're just like generating a bunch of, we're just casting Orb of Storms a bunch and generating a bunch of infusions. And then the other thing that we're doing is we're an Archmage build, and we're using Trinity support. So because Firestorm does all 3 element types now, it's pretty good with Trinity. However, it does seem to do more fire than the other elements. I think there's just more fire bolts, because it is a fire skill after all. So you do kind of have to balance it out a bit. So the way that I'm doing that is with Orb of Storms is lightning skill, so this is doing lightning damage. So that's how we're building up lightning for Trinity. Firestorm is giving us fire, and then our Elemental Storm, we can actually use Embitter support on here to convert any gain does extra into cold instead of the other elements. So as long as you have like 100% or more gain does extra, and this Elemental Storm is always going to be dealing more cold damage than any other element. So yeah, so that's kind of, this is converting like the Archmage, because Archmage gives you 4% damage extra per 100 max mana you have. So we get a bunch from there, and then we get some from our wand as well. Actually, that's not my main wand. That's my main wand. Yeah, so that has just some damage to extra fire, and then, yeah, that plus Elemental Storm with Embitter is going to be building up cold, so that's kind of how we maintain our Trinity. So I'll jump into a map real quick, kind of show you what it looks like. This character is not anything special. Like, the damage is not amazing or anything. It's not optimized in any way. My gear is kind of crappy, so, you know, take it with a grain of salt. But just as far as, like, making the skill actually playable, I would say it's fairly playable now. You just have to be good at actually generating a lot of infusions for this skill. And also, you want to scale some AoE and some extra limits and stuff like that. And then the problem right now with Firestorm is that it is bugged, and it actually cannot inflict any elemental ailments. So it can't ignite a shock or freeze or chill, which is super annoying, because this build would be like 10 times better if it could. And it would also be able to generate additional infusions with Siphon elements if it could regularly be, you know, applying ailments. So, unfortunately, hopefully that gets fixed. But, you know, this is kind of what it looks like right now. Again, super unoptimized character, so it's nothing crazy or all that impressive, but it is okay. And it's pretty decent for Abyss, because you can kind of just drop your Storm on top of the Abyss, and then it, you know, it lasts like 8 to 10 seconds or something like that. So, as the monsters are just crawling out of the Abyss, it's like they're just getting killed. So, pretty good. And you can see my Trinity buffs up here are pretty good at stacking up the full. The other thing that's really nice now is because... oh shit. Because elemental weakness, so all the curse skills got combined into one, so it's no longer one for each element, it's just elemental weakness now, and it's got reduces all 3 resistances, which, because it's now a fire, cold, and lightning skill, you can use it to trigger Rising Tempest support, which says supportive skills deal 12% more damage for each type of different element you've used recently. So all you have to do is cast it, and you've now used all 3 element types. Because unfortunately, Firestorm's still only counts as a fire skill. It doesn't count as the other elements as well. So you do have to like use element of weakness if you want to get all three. But even if I'm not cursing stuff, because I'm spamming Orb of Storms and Firestorm, it's still giving me lightning plus fire, so that's 24% more damage. But once you cast the LA weakness, it's 36% more damage, which is quite good for a damage support. Let me run and see if I can find the boss and show you my embarrassingly low DPS. Gotta be around here somewhere. There it is. So on the boss, you want to like just stack up a whole bunch of fusions, and then use your storm. So there you go. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a very incomplete build that, I wouldn't necessarily recommend copying exactly as it is, but I just wanted to kind of showcase some of the tech around how to generate lots of infusions with Orb of Storms and, like, reduced duration, and then also showcase that, Firestorm is sort of playable-ish. I don't know if I'm going to keep playing this character much longer. I don't know. Maybe if they actually fix the bugs in terms of not being able to apply ailments, I'll play it longer. Because there's some interesting things you could do with that in terms of like cast on ailment and stuff like that. But I am already cooking up a different build that I want to try out. So, but yeah, I just wanted to make this video and just kind of like show you some of these mechanics. So anyways, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.